Hello BookTube, it's Ben here from the History Fellow channel. Here with a weekly reads video, or a weekly reads and more video. Number, I think it's either 14 or 15, but it probably says that on front of the thumbnail anyway, so there you go. Apologies I haven't been around sooner. It's been one of those weeks where it seems like everything's gone wrong, or kind of gone to hell in a handcart, and just nothing seems to have gone right this week. But anyway, I've finally got some time now, so I'm finally getting around to doing this video. Before I get on to what I've been reading and what I'm going to read, I've had this book in this week. It's turned up a couple of days ago on my doorstep. It's called, oh, let me get rid of the shine. It's called Cobham Armor, Cold War British Armoured Vehicle Development by William Sutty, published by Osprey Books. And it's basically a look at British warfare vehicles and tanks since the Second World War. There's a blurb on the back cover. For over 60 years, the British Army Centre for Military Vehicle Design, Development and Testing at Churchills on Cobham Common was responsible for the introduction of British military vehicles, including the iconic Centurion, Chieftain and Challenger main battle tanks. Although they were never used for their intended purpose on the plains of northwest Germany, these vehicles proved their worth in British operations in Korea, Bosnia, Kuwait, Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as in the hands of many other forces around the world. In Cobham Armor, military vehicle and equipment expert William Sutty draws extensively on official MOD or Ministry of Defence reports and documentation to give a comprehensive account of the vehicles developed at Churchills that form the backbone of the Cold War British Army. So I'm looking forward to that. And British tank or tank design doesn't really have the best reputation. So hopefully, although in later years the tanks haven't been too bad really, but they've been quite decent, but kind of not the best that they should be. So I'm kind of looking forward to this book. It's published by Osprey Books and priced at £35 UK or $50 or 67 Canadian dollars. So it's a nice looking hardback, lots of detail, plenty of information and photographs and designs. So it should be quite interesting. It does look good. So that's Cobham Armor. Right, onto the books now that I have been reading or have read. First one, a really good one. I really enjoyed this one. It's called Churchills Arctic Convoys. Strength triumphs over adversity by William Smith. Priced at £25 and published by Pen and Sword Books. It looks at many of the Arctic convoys during World War II. In World War II, Britain and America were supplying the USSR with armaments, material for them to build tanks and military equipment and that sort of thing. And of course, they all had to go up kind of close to the Arctic, around to the north of Russia, to avoid the rest of Europe, so that it could get through more safely. And this book looks at various convoys. I think it was about 20 odd. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, it roughly talks about nearly 20 convoys and various events that happened to them, because obviously not only were they dealing with the Luftwaffe, who would often track and trace them, but they'd also have to deal with the severe cold weather and all that brings with the ice and frozen water and just basically all that. The conditions in these convoys was kind of so harsh. I mean, if you look at the bottom picture on the front of the book, it kind of that's on board the ship out in the open, and everything's all frozen over with ice and that, and you can imagine trying to battle an enemy when you're having to work in those conditions. But it was really good. I got into Arctic convoys in World War II about 4 or 5 years ago, when I read a book on the PQ-17 convoy, which was really interesting, and obviously got attacked and that. But so I was really looking forward to this book, and it was quite a good one. Not as detailed as I thought, but really good nonetheless. So that's Churchill's Arctic Convoys by William Smith. I shall leave a link below this video to some of the publishers that these books come from, and if you fancy a copy, you can get a copy too. The next one, I finished reading this, I think it was last night. This is Spies Who Changed History. The Greatest Spies and Agents in the 20th Century, written by Nigel West. Nigel West is a really good author, mainly because he works in the espionage business, and so has written a number of books, certainly on, I think it was, one book was on MI5, one was on GCHQ, and he's really good and really comprehensively detailed when he writes, because he obviously knows his stuff. So the books are always very detailed, and you kind of think, well, you know, this man knows what he's talking about, and it doesn't, he tells the stories without all the fluff and that. Because he knows the detail, he can happily write it packed full of detail. And basically the book follows 24 chapters, and each chapter is by about a different spy or agent, and they're all written quite well, or really well. Very interesting. They range from World War I through to the end of the Cold War, and if you like your espionage stories, then certainly I'd highly recommend this one. That's Spies Who Changed History by Nigel West, published by Pen and Sword Books, or actually Frontline Books, but they're part of Pen and Sword. There will be a link in the video description for them where you can get the book. And the other book I've been reading is like an old favourite, On the Trail of Jack the Ripper, written by Richard Charles Cobb and Mark Davis, who are kind of real experts on what they're writing about on Jack the Ripper. Published by Pen and Sword Books and priced at £15. It's a soft cover book, this one, but it's an excellent read. The good thing about this book, what really kind of, I think it's more, this book specifically is aimed at like the younger person, because throughout it obviously tells you the trail, what went on during the crimes and that sort of thing. But it's got lots of photos inside of modern day Whitechapel, and because the photos then makes it feel like it's bringing it into a modern kind of modern day telling, and so I think that's going to appeal more to the younger viewer, or if you haven't heard of Jack the Ripper or read about him, it just kind of brings it more up to date, rather than it just being an old Victorian crime and kind of been ignored. It's really good. So that's The Trail of Jack the Ripper. I'd happily recommend this to any Jack the Ripper fan, because detail is so good, and Richard C. Cobb is well known in the industry of true crime for being a Jack the Ripper specialist. So that is what I've been reading over the past week, and what I'm going to be reading this week, hopefully. You know me, I mean, I have got another delivery of about 10 or 12 books. They'll be coming probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and I've got about 10 or 12 books coming from Pen and Sword then, on various subjects, but mostly, let me try and think what I said of a review. Probably mostly World War II again, so it's kind of World War II heavy this time. But what I'm going to be reading this week is Forgotten Heroes of the Battle of Britain, written by Dilip Sarkar, MBE. I'm not a big fan of the author, but that's by the by really. But it's priced at £25 and published by World Books, and it obviously looks at some of the characters that we haven't, or we hear less about during the Battle of Britain. So I'm hoping for some decent info and some good stories. It's got on the back Wing Commander Ronald Bellett, Pilot Officer Richard Howley, Wing Commander Billy Burton, Group Captain Tom Cleave, Wing Commander Eric Thomas, and Sergeant Bruce Hancock. So hopefully some good stories, and usually the stories about what the Battle of Britain are quite good. And the last one is called The Sniper of Ypres Salient. It says Subos with William McRae. An infantryman's war in the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. And I'm presuming from the title he was a sniper and one of particularly good repute. As an ordinary infantryman, William McRae's war diaries reveal the day-to-day detail of his life at the front, as well as his involvement in key military engagements. And there's obviously they've also got hold of a lot of primary documents for this book, so it should be good and interesting. And plus, the thing that kind of, when I was flicking through it, I always have a quick flick through to see how the book's written. And the typeface is not your usual one. I'm not sure which one it is, but because it's unusual, it's going to make it a little bit more interesting to read. I know it's still the same story, but in my opinion, different fonts make you read slightly differently, or certainly quicker or slower. So I'm quite interested in that one. Should be a good story. So there we go, there's the books I've read and the books I'm going to read hopefully this week. Another thing I wanted to mention before I go is thank you very much to all. If you're a subscriber to this channel, or if you follow me on buymeacoffee.com, I'd like to say thank you very much. It's much appreciated. And also, I might have mentioned in a previous video that I had plans for a second channel. I'm planning on starting it either probably today or tomorrow, and it's going to be called The Grumpy Fella, as in another play on the History Fella, so I'll just change it slightly. It's just a second channel really, where I can talk more about stuff that I enjoy or do, in order that, you know, this one's rather restrictive in all that I can kind of do is history related things, or things related to history books. So it just gives me another channel in which I can do various other videos. I might even do some like hints and tips on stuff on life and that, and have a moan about various things, people and places, like a grumpy old man would. And also I might even do some cooking and some recipes and that sort of thing, just kind of make it more a wide variety of channel. So keep an eye out for it. I'll try and plug it on this channel or leave some links to it, but the intention is to call it the grumpy fella channel, as in to make it similar to this one. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you're all well. Take care of you and your families. And thank you very much for watching. Have a look down at the links below if you fancy any of the books, or if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer anything. And please feel free to give the video a thumbs up, it all helps. And if you haven't subscribed already, then please do so. And other than that, I shall see you very soon for another video. Thank you very much, take care, and goodbye.